Hello and welcome to this video. So here we're going to be looking at the present perfect continuous for recent activity. Okay, so here we can also use the present perfect continuous for activities that have been repeated from the past to the present, but with a focus on recent activity, right? For example, we may say, recently I've been watching a good TV series. Recently I have been watching a good TV series. So the form is the subject plus have been, or he, she has been, and the verb in the gerund, right? Have been watching. Recently, I have been watching a good TV series. We could also do a contraction. And when we're speaking, contractions are very natural and very good. So instead of I have, I've been watching. Instead of he has, his, which can be confusing because he's could be he is or he has. But we know from the context, he's been watching, it's he has, right? He's been watching. Great. So recently, I've been watching a really good TV series. Hey, it's true actually. I've been watching Money Heist. Have you seen it? It's on Netflix, La Casa del Papel. Well, I won't tell you what it's all about. You can go and watch it and find out. Okay, so let's move on. Have a look at some questions. Okay, so once again, question, and with the answer, repeat the phrases, repeat the intonation as we go along. Okay, are you interested in science? Yes, I'm a big fan of science. D. Yes, I'm a big fan of science. Recently, hear that falling, rising, recently, and that falling, rising means I'm going to carry on, so don't interrupt. Recently, I've been listening to a new podcast about science. I've been listening to a new podcast about science. You'll notice the stress there is on podcast and science. You emphasize podcast because that's the new information, the interesting stuff, right? That's emphasized more. I've been listening to a new podcast, right? Not a TV program, not a radio show, a new podcast about science. Put it all together. You have a go. Are you interested in science? Yes, I'm a big fan of science. Recently, I've been listening to a new podcast about science. Now, science, you may want to change. Let's look at substitution, right, for that word science. You may want to say a new podcast about biology. A new podcast about chemistry. Of course, we've got biology, chemistry, physics, different kinds of things. You could say a new podcast about the planet Earth. Actually, BBC series, The Planet Earth, David Attenborough. Go and watch it if you haven't. It's a great podcast and TV series about planet Earth. Another substitute for science could be scientific issues. It's nice because you're showing off science, scientific, the adjective, and it leaves you room to be more open, right? I've been listening to a new podcast about scientific issues. Second question, once again, do you cook? We'll look at how we can use different ways to answer this, right? Yeah, I love cooking. D. Yeah, I love cooking. Recently, D. Recently, I've been learning some new Japanese recipes. Great. I've been learning some new Japanese, you could change the nationality, Japanese recipes. The recipe is the instructions on how to cook something, right? For sushi, you need some seaweed paper, some rice, some sashimi, some fish, or some cucumber. Wrap it all up. That's the recipe. I've been learning some new Japanese recipes. D. I've been learning some new Japanese recipes. All together, do you cook? Nice. Yeah, I love cooking. Recently, I've been learning some new Japanese recipes. Japanese recipes. Brilliant. Good. Substitutes for new Japanese recipes. New dishes. I've been learning some new dishes. New recipes. I've been learning some new recipes. Of course, you could substitute new Italian recipes, new Chinese recipes, new British recipes. Who knows? Original ideas for new dishes. I've been learning some original ideas for new dishes. Slightly longer, but great, nice language. Excellent. Let's move on. Now let's look at the same question, but a negative answer, right? Do you cook? No, not really. D. No, not really. That said, I've been trying to learn. D. That said, I've been trying to learn following some videos on YouTube. D. Oh, I love that. D. Following some new videos on YouTube. Put it all together. Do you cook? No, not really. That said, I've been trying to learn following some videos on YouTube. Nice, great. Substituting the videos on YouTube, right? We could say, I've been trying to learn following a new book I have. I've been trying to learn, right? That's nice because you have a pause and then carry on. I've been trying to learn following a program on TV. I've been trying to learn following some online classes or online courses. Maybe a class, maybe a course. It's interesting, right? You can learn cooking online nowadays. You can do something called masterclass. You can even have Gordon Ramsay teaching you how to cook or even cook online. Great. Final question. How do you spend time by yourself? Well, actually, recently, well, actually, recently, I've been learning how to meditate. I've been learning how to meditate. It's great fun, I must say. It's great fun, I must say. And notice that notice the must, right? A lot of people emphasize the T, must, but very often the next word, if it begins with a consonant, you can drop the T, right? Must say? No, must say. It's just the S. Drop the T. Must say. I must say. Didn't know that, did you? I must say. It's great fun, I must say. Give me the whole final answer. How do you spend time by yourself? Interesting, right. Well, actually, recently, I've been learning how to meditate. It's great fun, I must say. Nice. Substitutes? Well, keep fit, paint, code, lots of things. I've been learning how to keep fit. I've been learning how to paint. I've been learning how to code. Or do yoga, do Pilates. What about you? What have you been learning? Excellent. Let's move on.